talk about shapes, kids. Let's talk about shapes, kids. Let's talk about all the sizes and the sides they come in. Let's talk about shapes. Like the triangle, it comes in 3 sides. Like the circle, it comes with no sides. Like the square, it comes with 4 sides. Let's talk about shapes and all the sizes and sides that they come in. Today's shape is Crescent. Crescent Moons and Pointed Minarets, a Muslim book of shapes by Hena. Cone is the tip of the minaret, so tall I hear soft echoes of the prayer call. Rectangle is the moss-carved wooden door, filled with a pattern that reaches the floor. Octagon is a fountain, its water so blue, I wash before prayers and make my wudu. Triangle is a minabar's thin set of stairs. We hear a short sermon before Friday prayers. Arch is the mihrab that guides our way. We stand and face it each time we pray. Cube is the Kaaba, a most sacred site where Muslims worship each day and night. Square is a garden with sweet orange trees, a hint of Jannah on its fragrant breeze. Circle is a daf, a drum large and round. We fill the air with its festive sound. Hexagon is a tile, bold and bright, painted with an ayah I love to recite. Oval is the table where we break our fast. When the sun sets, it's iftar time at last. Diamond is the design of my new Eid clothes, a kaftan so long that it reaches my toes. Crescent is the moon, brilliant in the sky. It whispers salam as the day passes by. So much beauty in the shapes that I see adds to my faith and the world around me. You have been listening to Crescent Moons and Pointed Minarets, a Muslim book of shapes by Hena. This is another shaker song, and we're going to call this one, Which Way Do You Shake It? I'm going to shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Which way do you shake it? I'm going to shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Which way do you shake it? I'm going to shake it over here, shake it over there. I'm going to shake it over here and shake it over there. Which way do you shake it? Which way do you shake it? I'm going to shake it up here. I'm going to shake it down here. I'm going to shake it up here. I'm going to shake it down here. Which way do you shake it? Which way do you shake it? Shake it, shake it, shake it! Crescents by Julia Vogel. Crescents are like moons, you know. Spy one everywhere you go. 2 rounded arcs that curve and meet in 2 small points, sharp and neat. Crescents hide, so can you look? Can you find them in this book? Spot a crescent in the sky. See the shape in the pie. Choose a crescent you can eat. Pick a crescent that tastes sweet. Wear a crescent in your hat. Find a crescent on the mat. Hang a crescent on a tree. Hang a crescent, letter C. Use a crescent you can rock. Spot a crescent near the crock. Draw a yellow crescent moon. Scoop a crescent with a spoon. Make a crescent on your face. Take a crescent every place. With crescents hiding all around, how many crescents have you found? You've been listening to Crescents by Julia Vogel. My little friends, this is called Astronaut, Astronaut. And I'm going to do it sitting down, but I hope you'll be standing up and moving. Ready? Astronaut, astronaut, turn around. Astronaut, astronaut, jump up high! Astronaut, astronaut, touch the sky! Astronaut, astronaut, where's your shoe? Astronaut, astronaut, that will do. We're going to do it one more time. Ready? Astronaut, astronaut, turn around. Astronaut, astronaut, jump up high. Astronaut, astronaut, touch the sky. Astronaut, astronaut, touch your shoe. Astronaut, astronaut, that will do. Frank and Izzy Set Sail by Laura McGee, Kvasnosky. Frank was practicing his ukulele when the doorbell rang. Oh no, he thought, it's that rabbit again. He cracked open the door. Why, Frank, said Izzy, I didn't know you played the ukulele. How about a song? Frank hid the ukulele behind his back. I'll sing along, said Izzy. We can start a band. We'll be famous. Frank felt too shy to play his ukulele in front of anyone, especially Izzy. He changed the subject. Would you like some lemonade? Frank and Izzy sat on the porch and sipped lemonade. I came by to see if you want to go sailing, said Izzy. Sounds interesting, said Frank. I've read a lot about sailing. Then he remembered stories of shipwrecks and castaways. Well, he began. You'll love it, Izzy said. We'll sail to Crescent Island and camp overnight on the beach. Frank squirmed, sailing and sleeping out. Yikes! Let's go get packed, said Izzy. She hopped off the porch. Frank rose slowly. At least she forgot about the ukulele, he thought. Frank laid out his stuff. Toothbrush, sleeping bag, first aid kit, life jacket, beach chairs, rock collection, food, pots and pans, flashlight, extra batteries, model railroad magazine, bug spray. The pile got bigger and bigger. Pretty soon Izzy was back with her tiny pack. She was humming until she saw Frank's pile. We're only going for one night, Frank, she said. I like to be prepared, said Frank. But he put his rock collection back on the shelf. All this stuff will overload the boat, said Izzy. Maybe we could tow my gear in a dinghy, suggested Frank. Okay, said Izzy. Finally, Frank was packed. You load the wagon, said Izzy. I'll zip up this red bag and be right out. Frank and Izzy walked to the lake. Izzy talked the whole way. Do you know how I hold the world record for singing the highest note, she said. She opened her mouth wide, but no sound came out. It's higher than you can hear, she said. Then how do you know it's the highest, said Frank. I might have lied, said Izzy, but let's not get bogged down in the facts. At the dock, Izzy showed Frank how to rig the boat. Who taught you to sail, he asked. My grandma, said Izzy. She was a pirate and sailed the 7 seas with a parrot on her shoulder. Really, said Frank. Well, maybe not the parrot part, said Izzy. She jumped into the boat and pushed off. Frank held on for dear life. Suddenly, Izzy called, Prepare to jibe! Frank froze. Then he remembered his reading. Aye, aye, he answered, just like a real sailor. Jibe ho, yelled Izzy. Frank ducked under the sail. The wind caught on the other side, and the boat skimmed across the lake. Sailing to Crescent Island took most of the day because of the heavy dinghy. We can go exploring if we ever get there, said Izzy. Maybe we'll find a Sasquatch. A Sasquatch, repeated Frank. Isn't that a forest monster? Izzy nodded. You go ahead, said Frank. I'll set up camp. As soon as Frank pulled the boat up the beach, Izzy disappeared into the woods. After a while, Frank put up the tent. When will Izzy be back, he wondered. He began to make dinner. It grew colder, darker, scarier. Still, there was no sign of Izzy. Frank sang a little tune to comfort himself. I wish I had my ukulele, he thought. Crack, snap. Something was crashing through the bushes. It came closer and closer. Out limped Izzy. Am I glad to see you, said Frank. I hurt my paw, wailed Izzy. A Sasquatch bit it. Really, said Frank. Just a baby Sasquatch, said Izzy. I have just the thing, said Frank. Frank bandaged Izzy's paw. Then he ladled out hot tomato soup. Thanks, said Izzy. Frank served chocolate pudding for dessert. You thought of everything, Frank, said Izzy. She licked her bowl. Frank and Izzy sat by the campfire. The only thing that could make this better is a song, said Izzy. Yes, said Frank. I kind of wish I brought my ukulele. Izzy grinned. I guess you hadn't looked in your red bag yet, she said. Because you did. Frank hugged his ukulele. Thanks, Izzy, he said. He began to strum and sing softly. Happy days are here again. Izzy joined in loudly. Frank added harmonies and fancy strums. Frank and Izzy sang to the stars. In the morning, Izzy's paw was still sore. I'm not sure I can handle the tiller, she said. Frank gulped. I'll give it a try. The boat zigzagged up the lake as Frank figured out the rudder and the sail. See why I love sailing, said Izzy. Frank started to sing, My bunny lies over the ocean. Izzy chimed in. Eventually, Frank sailed alongside the dock. Izzy helped with the landing. Good sailing, she said, and that's no lie. Thanks, said Frank. Could be my grandma was a pirate, too. That evening, Frank and Izzy relaxed on the porch. Sometimes the best part of an adventure is coming home, said Frank. Maybe so, said Izzy. After a song or two, Izzy turned to Frank. We really could be stars, she said. Let's try out for the talent show. Frank strummed a few chords. I don't know, he said. We need lots of practice. He smiled at Izzy. But we do sound pretty good together. You have been listening to Frank and Izzy Set Sail by Laura McGee Kvasnosky. Hi guys, thanks for joining us for today's Little Explorers Shape Edition, Crescents. Today we talked all about crescents, and we began with a beautiful book called Crescent Moons and Pointed Minarets, a Muslim book of shapes by Hena, published by Chronicle Kids. Please pardon me if I did not pronounce anything correctly in this book. I did do my best, but we're all learning together, right? And I love how many shapes were in this book in common areas. You know, I like to look around the library and find things, so I love that they looked around and found them in their everyday lives too. Maybe you'll see some similar shapes in your everyday life. Then we read Crescents by Julia Vogel, published by Magic Wagon. And we got to again see crescents in everyday lives. It did make me a little hungry because there were a lot of crescents in food in this book. Did you notice that? And last, we read Frank and Izzy Set Sail by Laura McGee Kvasnosky, published by Candlewick. And they are headed to Crescent Island in their sailboat with a crescent sail. Did you notice the crescent sail too? And they had quite an adventure and learned to step outside of what they normally do, right? Frank definitely didn't think he was going to enjoy his time on the boat, but he learned to do it, didn't he? And Izzy has a great sense of adventure. So I looked around the library today, like many of these books, and looked for a crescent. And someone helped me find a great one in this globe. Do you see the crescent here? Holding our globe up. What kind of crescents can you find in your world? We'll see you soon for our next shape.